There have been 8 suicides this year alone within the Sheriff's Department. These are active members. That figure is unheard of in the history of the department. We're going back 173 years. I don't think we've had even 2 in 1 year, let alone 8. And nationally, that represents about 10% of the entire nation's suicide in law enforcement happen under one agency. There's one primary reason that's a common theme in all of them. The severe workload and the horrific working conditions employees face, they're draining bodies left and right. And right now, there's about 1,200 that are scheduled to be retired by March of next year, and he's hiring 350 a year. So that rate, the math you can tell is not working. Right now, they acknowledge there are 2,800 employees missing. Patrol stations are operating at 30% plus vacancy rate. And deputies are being forced to work 8, 10, 12 shifts on overtime on top of their regular work during the course of a month. And do the math on that, you can realize that's 16-hour shifts, 8 hours off, 16-hour shifts, 8 hours off, 16-hour shifts where they have barely enough time to change their clothes and brush their teeth. So yeah, it's taken its toll on the organization, and it's the failed leadership of the board for putting the hiring freeze on the department unjustifiably that in 2020, and then bringing in a sheriff who can't bring ants to a picnic. Well, crime is going to continue to head upwards. It's going to spiral upwards because there's no accountability in the system. The zero bail schedule was initiated by the sheriff, the district attorney, when they failed to show up to court in May of this year on a lawsuit. There was a former inmate that was challenging the department's use of bail, money bail, where they were detained prior to their arraignment. So they sued. And the department, the sheriff and the DA decided not to show up in court to defend the cash bail system. So the former inmate won by default, and now we have the zero bail schedule that's imposed on the entire county. To date, there's 29 cities who are rebelling against this because they can see clearly that a lack of accountability, a lack of consequences, and this catch and release, cite and release, is leading to more and more people committing crime, and it's the same people over and over again who get circled in and out of jail nonstop. So they're trying to now stop this cashless bail system and reintroduce a system that works. And this zero bail schedule impacts the police force because it's kind of like running in water or in sand. You can't get any traction. You can't make any advancement because you arrest somebody and they're out before you finish writing the report to do it all over again. So it's becoming an exercise in futility. It's very demoralizing for the line staff in law enforcement. The same thing with the investigators, and same thing with the prosecution. The person's out again, reoffends, they're out again, keeps reoffending. This is nonstop. And the numbers are bearing this out. Yolo County did an experiment with this, and the numbers were horrendous. 163% increase in violent crimes for those who were released on the zero bail schedule. 163%. The Sheriff's Department now is missing, sworn alone, probably upwards of 1,500 are gone. LAPD has almost identical problem with recruitment. They can't attract, so they're missing over 1,000 officers on the line. So when you have less cops on the street, crime didn't go down, crime actually increased, which means it takes longer and longer for cops to show up to the scene of a crime, to stop a crime in progress, because there's less cops on the street. So the outcome is very bad for the residents of LA County. The fix is very simple. You need to have leadership, and the mayor's office, city council, the board of supervisors that supports law enforcement. It's as simple as that. And by supporting law enforcement, it doesn't mean looking the other way and ignoring when they do things wrong. So hold people accountable, but you have to actively defend and legitimize law enforcement in the eyes of the public. They've been doing the exact opposite for the last 5-10 years. And you keep throwing flames at something, the public is going to perceive it must be wrong. They're not going to want to join this ranks because, hey, you keep talking bad about law enforcement. Why would I want to join an organization that you're denouncing on a daily basis? That negative press has to stop. You need to start supporting law and order, support the thin blue line. Instead of trying to get rid of thin blue line flags, actually display them proudly.